You don't ask if Bitcoin can go to zero because you want a chart, you ask because you want permission. Permission to believe, permission to act, permission to stop looking over your shoulder. But beneath that question is fear. The fear that you'll be wrong, that you'll be laughed at, and that you'll build your life on a digital illusion. So, can Bitcoin go to zero? Well, that's not just a financial question, it's a psychological one. Because if it can go to zero, then maybe all of this, the sovereignty, the system shift, the rebellion, well, maybe it's all a scam. But what if the opposite is true? What if the real scam is the question itself? Now, if you want to understand sovereignty, well, I have something which will really help you out. This is a free course and it's called Sovereign by Design. Now, what I'll do is link this down in the description below. See, let's go ahead and answer this straight. Yes, technically, Bitcoin can go to zero, and gold could go to zero, and the dollar could, and your pension, and your stock portfolio, and even your job security. Now, everything priced in belief has risk, but the real question isn't can it go to zero, the question is what needs to happen for that to occur, and what's more likely to hit zero first, Bitcoin or your faith in the old system. See, for Bitcoin to go to zero, the internet would need to die, the network would need to dissolve, every node abandoned, every miner shut down, and every user walk away. But that's not what's happening. The opposite is. Because there's more adoption, more wallets, more developers, more infrastructure, and more conviction. Now, Bitcoin doesn't run on price, it runs on math, on time, on scarcity, and on belief hardened into code. And that's what most people miss. Because Bitcoin isn't just a number on a screen, it's a distributed consensus of value, and it's growing. So let's go ahead and actually talk about history. Because since 2009, Bitcoin has been declared dead over 470 times. It's a bubble, a Ponzi, a tool for criminals. And yet, every time the price drops, the network keeps running. Blocks keep ticking. Users keep stacking. From $1 to $1,000, from $1,000 to $60,000, from $60,000 to $16,000, and then back. Crash after crash. FUD after FUD. Now, Bitcoin didn't die, because Bitcoin doesn't care about headlines, it doesn't care about CNBC sentiment, and it doesn't even care what you believe. It just keeps going. But let's go ahead and flip it, because think about this. Can the dollar go to zero? Now, we're actually getting somewhere, because the dollar is going to zero. Now, not overnight, not like a crash, but like a slow, silent bleed. 2% a year, then 4%, then 7%, then 15%. Now, they call it inflation, but what it really is quiet theft. See, a dollar from 1971, well, today it buys about 10 cents of value. So yes, Bitcoin could go to zero, but the dollar actually is, right now, in real time, while you're working and while you're saving. Every paycheck you earn is melting, and you're worried about Bitcoin. See, let me go ahead and tell you about Jack. Jack stacked half a Bitcoin when it was around $8,000, and he held it. But then the crash came from $8,000 to $3,000. Now Jack panicked. He sold it all. He said, this thing's going to zero. But 2 years later, well, Bitcoin's at $60,000. And Jack, well, Jack's still working the same job, still saving in dollars, and still waiting for certainty. But sovereignty doesn't wait. It rewards the ones who don't flinch. So, let's go ahead and zoom out. Fiat is dying. Debt is exploding. Trust is collapsing. Now governments are trapped because they can't stop printing. They can't raise rates forever, and they can't default. So what do? Well, they devalue. They turn the money printer back on. They call it stimulus. You call it survival. But every new dollar printed makes your existing ones worth less. Now this is how empires fall. Now not with war, but with math. See, Bitcoin was built for this moment. 21 million, fixed, verifiable, and incorruptible. Now the system breaks, but Bitcoin doesn't. But let's get honest. You don't fear Bitcoin going to zero. You fear looking stupid. You fear being wrong in public. You fear your family saying, "I told you so." And you fear losing something you don't fully understand. But that's okay. It means you're awake. You're not numb. You're aware. But don't confuse discomfort with danger, because Bitcoin isn't unsafe. It's just different. Different from the system that trained you to trade your time for melting paper. See, think of Bitcoin like a lifeboat. The Titanic is going down. You're on board. You're watching the water rise. And you're asking, what if this boat sinks too? Now that's the wrong question, because the ship you're on is already doomed. Now it's not about whether the lifeboat is perfect, it's about whether you trust the ship less. And if you do, well, you get in. Now not because you're certain, but because the alternative is suicide. So, can Bitcoin go to zero? Sure, anything can. But what will go to zero, well, is the purchasing power of your fiat, the trust you place in governments, and the freedom you think you have in a system built to farm you. Now, Bitcoin is a bet, but not on technology, not on hype, not on price. It's a bet on sovereignty, on scarcity, on truth, and on yourself. Now, it's a bet that says, I'd rather hold something the system can't print than stay loyal to the one that's been stealing from me all along. So next time someone asks, can Bitcoin go to zero? Just say this. Sure, but right after the internet dies, the nodes vanish, the hash power disappears, and everyone on Earth simultaneously agrees to abandon the last honest money we've ever seen. But until then, I'll keep stacking, quietly, deliberately, and unpermissioned. Because I'm not betting on Bitcoin going to the moon, I'm betting on the system to melt. And that bet, well, that's already printing profits. Now, one last time, if you do want to come and check this out, this is called Sovereign by Design, and what I'll do is link it down in the description below. Now, if you've made it this far, and if you're not too sure what to watch next, well, I have this playlist for you just here, which you can go ahead and binge watch if you enjoy watching my content, or if you want a single video, you can watch this one just here, recommended to you by YouTube.